Presenting the CW Crew.
Thank you so much, Miss Shannon. Like Shannon said, my name is John. I am the host of the CW Twin Cities, and on top of being a huge fan of Jim Burke, his brother Tom Burke is my boss, so I can't screw this up. But my wife gave me one big piece of advice on the way up here, kind of like Jayden. She said, "Don't worry, they're really just here to hear Jim talk." All right, so the Twin Cities Film Fest has recognized many successful Minnesota filmmakers here over the years, including John Hawkes, Leah Thompson, Christine Walker, Rachel Lee Cook, and Steve Zahn. Let's take a look right now at this short presentation about tonight's Lifetime Achievement Award, Twin Cities' own Jim Burke.
I definitely think Jimmy, being the oldest of 6 kids that were 12 years apart, really honed his skills as leader, an ultimate leader, and as a producer. He'd be babysitting us, and we all had different personalities, and we're running in and out, and he was really strict, which as a young girl, I was like, scared some of the time, but a lot of times just laughing too. We had a lot of fun, but he had to manage a lot.
He just is who he is, and I think that's amazing. I love that about him, and he's not trying to put on airs or trying to act Hollywood or act like anything. He just does his job, does his great work, and does it as himself.
I asked probably 30 of his best friends one word for Jim Burke, and it came up: authentic. Authentic, which is amazing. And then the second one, genuine. And then we looked at each other and said, that's his movies. They're authentic and they're genuine. They're Burke-driven.
I think you did it.
And if you want to keep questioning me like this, I won't continue without my attorney present.
Hi, Dad.
Do something! You're the doctor.
He's not that kind of doctor, Dad.
I said my boy was a doctor.
Dr. Philosophy.
Insurance agents get people's lives back on track.
You are a hero. You're the Superman type.
We're gonna be fine!
Alex?
Dad? What's up, Dad? What's happening?
You need to come home and see your mom.
A tourist.
That's Dave Johnson.
Hey, everybody.
And Carol. He never struck me as the kind of guy who'd go get small.
I need someone who can launder my clothes, shine my shoes. Good luck, Doc.
And the Oscar goes to Green Book.
This is like a dream.
I was certainly thrilled for Jim, and because I know how hard he worked on it and what his vision was for it, despite what some people tried to make it into. I know that his approach to it was very genuine and right-hearted, so to speak, and well-deserved.
It makes us feel very proud to have known who he is today, who he was growing up, all through college, acquaintances throughout the years.
He's never changed.
He's never changed.
Never, ever.
He is, again, kind of going back to the word authentic, one of those friends that, we feel so fortunate to have him as a friend.
We were heading out of town to go golfing in Wisconsin, and prior to that, Burke called me up and said, can you meet me over at the Edina High School? I would like to show this Oscar to Nick in his class. It was one of the most caring moments that I've seen with Jim Burke. It was unbelievable. His nephew, Nick, was so proud.
As a sister watching him and his success, I could cry right now. Because it's so awesome to see it. He is doing great work, and he's so talented. I'm sorry. He's so talented, and he's so articulate, and he's so into relationships, and to see that come through on the screen, in the types of movies that he makes, and they're usually always about relationships. So I see a lot of characters in his films that remind me of the love that we had in my family growing up with my brothers and sisters and my parents. And he's got a great gift in being able to bring that to the screen for everybody else to enjoy.
Hey everybody, me again. Can you guys believe that we have the winner of Best Picture right here in the Twin Cities? Give it up! Jim Burke, congratulations and thank you for being here.
Thank you, John Foss.
So, you brought this guy. Tell us about this guy right here.
That's the Academy Award for Best Picture. Yeah.
Here it is. It's heavy. I would take this to the gym and just do curls and be like, don't worry, I brought my own. And this is the closest.
It's not about you, John.
That's true. He's reminding me. He's reminding me.
Yeah.
All right. You grew up here in the Twin Cities.
I did, yeah.
The oldest of 6 kids.
6 kids. I was born across the street in an apartment on Dean Parkway. Yeah.
Did being the oldest of 6 kids help you as far as later in your career being a producer? Because
Yes.
as we heard in the video, you were kind of a leader. Tell us about that.
My brothers and sisters are wild dogs. And as a producer, you have to organize chaos oftentimes. And so I was trained from an early age.
During the interview, I think your sister Katie said that she didn't know that, she knew that you were a great leader, but she didn't know that you were going to do great things, but you knew that you were going to do great things. Where did that confidence come from?
I was born with it. I really was. It was. And also, we had a dad that was super encouraging, but he didn't let you take yourself too seriously. So I never thought that I couldn't do what I was trying to do. I mean, I had moments for sure where I doubted it, but by and large, I always thought, well, why don't I try this? And I did it, and what I didn't know, I learned, and I just kept going, yeah.
Where did your interest in movies come from?
I was watching movies all my life. My dad opened a movie theater downtown Minneapolis when the IDS Center opened, called the IDS Theater, I guess. I don't remember what it was called. But it was a nice theater, but they couldn't book any of today's hits or that day's hits, and so we got a lot of foreign films. And so because it was free, I would take the bus downtown and watch French films or Japanese films and things like that. And somehow that informed my way of thinking about film. And this is kind of a cute story. Years later, I had a big premiere. And I picked up the phone the next day and I called my dad and I said, Dad, I've had the night of my life. It was fantastic. And he goes, God love you, Jimmy. You've been going to movies and going to parties all your life. Now you made a career out of it. Yeah.
So how does the interest in movies evolve into a career in producing?
Well, I just, it slowly evolved. I was interested in film, and but at the beginning, I was just interested in making a film, any film. I would make any kind of film. And as I began to understand the business and myself even more, I realized that I personally had a kind of film I liked, and I made a decision to only make those kind of movies. So I wouldn't be able to make The Fast and the Furious, for example, because I'm not part of that audience. So I just made it was a business decision, but it was also a decision that sort of was true to myself. Yeah.
How did you make the leap to moving to California? And I've also heard that it was an interesting house that you lived in. You had a lot of people coming over. It was, and even some celebrities. Tell us about your move to California.
Well, I mean, the quickest version of the story is my family, I got our family an audition on Family Feud. And
you can watch that on the CW Twin Cities, by the way.
Yeah. So, what time does that run, John?
5 to 7. 5 to 7 weekday morning.
Yeah. So I got our family an audition on Family Feud, and we were selected to be one of the families. They flew out to California. We got out there, and I was just amazed by being on a sound stage and watching people with walkie-talkies and golf carts and things like that. And I never knew that would be a job. I never thought about it. But at that moment, I decided, well, if this is a job, I want to be part of this. And so I abandoned all other dreams that weren't really fully formed yet for a career, and decided I was going to go out to LA and be in show business. And once I graduated from the U, that's what I did. Yeah.
What was the one job that took you from the guy that moved from the Twin Cities to California to pursue a film career to the guy that now this is happening? This is something that I can actually do. What was the one film where you felt like you kind of established yourself and you were starting?
Well, the one, I had several important films along the way. The first really important one was, to me at least, was Election. And but around that same time, I made another movie called Big Night, which was equally important in a different way. And but when we made Election, it became clear to me what my taste was as a filmmaker. And so I kind of made a decision to sort of drift into that way. And I also became friends with, and still am, friends with Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor, two guys my age that we were all just kind of coming up in the business at the same time. And we're Midwesterners, and we share the same aesthetic, but we're also from a place that not many people are from.
And there's a lot of people here in the audience that are in the film industry. They may know this, but for people that aren't, what does a producer do?
It's more like, what doesn't the producer do? So the producer is typically one of the first people in on a movie, and then sort of does everything. You're the salesperson in chief. You weigh in on sort of all creative matters, and the film, typically when you're talking about what does Jim Burke, the producer, do, the producer represents my taste too, along with the directors and others, but it represents me. So I do everything. I'm the complaint department. I'm sort of manage the relationship between the financier and the distributor and the release pattern and the film festivals, and just it's a never-ending list of things to do. Yeah.
Throughout the years, what would you say have been your most challenging and rewarding films?
Well, the most challenging one was The Savages. That was a grind. But I loved the movie, and just the process was tricky. And I don't know. I mean, when I was watching that thing up there and The Descendants came on, I just got a real hit to the heart, because I love that movie. Yeah.
It's absolutely a great movie, and that movie was nominated for Best Picture, so you've been nominated before?
We were nominated. We should have won, but we didn't.
I agree.
Yeah.
The Descendants, The Artist.
Right.
Just saying.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. But the story doesn't end there, because obviously Green Book comes along.
That's right.
And one thing I thought was interesting is I interviewed you before the before Green Book was shown at the Twin Cities Film Fest. And I was shocked because I asked this guy, you know, you expect the answer to be, I don't really care, you know, it's a side thing. But I asked him, what do you think about the Academy Awards? This is getting Oscar buzz. What do you think? He said, all I want to do on this film is win the Oscar. And it happened.
Yeah, I do. I did. I wanted to win the Oscar, and you know, that's a goal of mine. So, why not say it? Yeah.
Most people wouldn't have the guts. How did you have the guts to say something that wasn't necessarily a politically correct answer?
I don't know. I don't consider it. I don't agree with you on this one, John.
Okay. That's a first.
Yeah. I don't think it was courageous or guts or anything like that. You asked me a question and I gave you what my feelings were, which is that's what I want. My dream is to win an Oscar, and I know, or I kind of know, that if I did win an Oscar, that means I, you know, was involved in the Best Picture of the Year. Because for somebody in my job, there's only one path to the Oscar, and that's to make the Best Picture. So, and I want, you know, I'm a competitive person. I want to win. Yeah.
And if my research department has their facts right, you heard about this while you were golfing, that you were nominated. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
How do you go from like just golfing to, how do you finish the round?
I wasn't actually golfing. I was driving down to a golf course. Yeah.
Were you like shanking shots, or how did you compose yourself?
I felt like I knew we would be nominated, so I wasn't worried about it. The concern for me, at least, and I know this sort of sounds cocky, but it's not. I vote in the Academy. I see all the pictures every year. I can kind of handicap it pretty. I knew that we would be among the top, you know, 8 or 10 pictures. And plus, we had won so many other festivals leading up, it would have been a shock if we weren't nominated. Yeah, so I don't know how I did. I just went out and played. Yeah. I didn't play very well. Yeah.
So tell us about that night. What is that night like? Because there's a lot of people here who, like we mentioned, are in the film industry. You are one of us. And all of a sudden you're on the biggest stage for the biggest award, the last award of the night. What is that night like? Can you even enjoy the night, or what's going through your head?
No, so I was scared, and I was anxious, and we had gone to many award shows leading up to this, and I had the same feeling. Each one, sort of a queasy, sour stomach, and I had kind of done something I typically don't do, which is I talked myself into we're not going to win, and because I didn't want to get hurt again. And when she said, when Julia Roberts said Green Book, and I told this to either you or Jayton, I said, my mind, I have no memory of that. From that point till the time we were backstage, I just saw in this film that a picture of us up there, but I'm not going to watch it because I get a certain enjoyment out of hearing other people tell me what it was like for them, you know, and also because my sister-in-law, Shannon's mom, told me a long time ago, if you don't like a picture of yourself, wait 5 years. So, and that's been true. Yeah. So I'm going to wait a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense. So when you hear, first of all, having Julia Roberts announce it, I mean, that's icing on the cake. When she said the words Green Book, you said you had talked yourself into the fact that you weren't going to win.
Yes.
Was it like slow motion when you started to hear like green? Like, were you like, wait, this is happening? Like, what was that like when you hear the words from Julia Roberts' mouth saying Green Book?
So, like I said, I heard Green Book, and there was a sort of explosive effect on our whole row, and we all jump up, and then that's all I remember. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's weird. It's an interesting sort of study, you know, of the mind and what happens to people in moments of extreme excitement. Yeah, yeah.
And it's really cool that you've brought the award and you've kind of brought it around the Twin Cities to family, friends, to kind of spread the enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
Number one, why do you do that? I mean, this is I don't know if I would feel comfortable with people touching this thing, but you said there's a chip in it, so that's helpful. But tell us about like sharing the award with people that mean a lot to you and why you do that.
Well, first of all, it brings me great joy to see the happiness that it brings to other people. And two is, I met a guy 10 or so years ago named Barry Morrow, who I found out wrote the script for Rain Man. And I know a lot about the Oscars, and I kind of geek out on that stuff. And I said, well, then you won the Oscar. And he said, yes, I did. And so I asked, where do you keep it? And he said, well, really, I bring it around to schools and to charity groups, and especially to kids who have special needs and things like that. And over the years, this waistband here, the gold plating is sort of rubbed off. And he was telling that to somebody at an Academy screening, and this person was an Academy governor or something, and they said, oh, well, we can fix it. We can replate it or even replace the Oscar itself. And he thought about it for a second. He goes, no, I think I like it better that way. And so that's why I want this to be. I want it to be loved and broken in and appreciated, and yeah, and it's for other people, but it's also for me. It makes me feel good. Yeah.
And as a Minnesota guy, again, your brother, my boss, tells me that you still get the Star Tribune daily. It doesn't seem like you've changed very much.
Not correct. That's not correct. I don't get it daily.
We're going to talk.
Yeah, I read online, and
you read it online.
Yeah, and I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you cope with Hollywood? You're a Minnesota guy, but you don't seem like you've changed. You have the biggest award in Hollywood. Tell us, I mean, for people out here that may be in your shoes later, how do you keep away from the pitfalls that other people have fallen into and not change and continue to be Jim Burke?
Well, I don't know. I just am the way I am. But at a certain point, though, it is true. I made another decision because I was, Bill Pola will tell you too that it is sort of unique to be a Minnesotan in Hollywood. There aren't billions of us. Most people grew up on Park Avenue or in Beverly Hills or something like that, and it's a Shark Tank. And I, for a little while, tried to be a shark, and I failed miserably at that. And so I made a decision that I needed to be who I was and just live or die with that, and I became a dolphin. And so I just decided I wasn't going to participate in a lot of the foolishness, because it takes the fun out of it, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, I'm getting the wrap it up sign. I want to sneak in 2 quick questions. The first question, which this guy's so humble he doesn't like to talk about, you have a film that you're working on with Bill Pohlad, who, Love and Mercy, I love that film, by the way.
Great movie.
Yes. And he's directing and writing this film, so I can't wait to see it because it's another music film. It's called Dreamin' Wild. You're producing. Can you give us a little sneak peek?
Later.
Later? All right.
Yeah. Do it
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Okay. So last.
I don't want to do it. Bill's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So last question then.
Yeah.
A lot of people in their life they have dreams, but their dreams might be different than yours. You had one dream. You wanted to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Everybody out here probably has a dream. Probably it could be a different dream. It could be the same. What is it like, number one, to actually fulfill that dream? Because not a lot of people have that experience. And number two, what advice would you give to people out here who have some sort of dream that they want to fulfill in their life?
So the first part of the question is, what is it like? And I don't know yet. It's still revealing itself to me. It's interesting. It's an interesting happening. And I don't know exactly how I'll react, and I am reacting to it. I'm trying to just stay as present as I can be and keep doing what I do. And but I do look at it, you know, and my wife puts it up next to my bed, so when we wake up in the morning, I will open my eyes and I'll go, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah. So, but my goals are to you know, sit up straight and stand up straight and to be present in my life. And I really, that's a real, you know, just like the intention was to win an Oscar, my intention is to be as present as I can be, not thinking about the future and not thinking about the past. I want to live life now. And I think that'll make me an even better filmmaker. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and we'll think about the future later, but right now we're going to give this guy a Twin Cities Film Fest Lifetime Achievement Award. Jim Burke, Oscar-winning producer. Give it up for this guy right here.
Yeah. Can I just say one quick thing, or I don't know how quick it'll be, but I came here tonight because Jayton invited me, and he tricked me. First of all, he said, would you be agreeable to be honored? I said, sure, and then on the flight in, I found it was a lifetime achievement. So, but anyway, but I'm here because I have great respect for the Twin Cities Film Festival. I came here last year for the first time, and I've been going to festivals for 25 years, and I can't think of a festival I haven't been to. So I know them all, and I know a good one when I see it. So you all should be very proud to be associated with the Twin Cities Film Festival, because it's a really top-notch American film festival. Yeah. So, and the last thing I'll say is that festivals of all kinds, but especially good ones like Twin Cities, are so important to filmmakers, because the sorts of films we make don't have gigantic advertising budgets. They don't put a dinosaur at the Mall of America and say Jurassic World. We require word of mouth, and if you're lucky enough to get your film in a series of film festivals, that starts the thunder rolling. And it's crucial to all the movies you see at the end of the year that you love. They all played a festival circuit. And this makes me so proud that my own hometown has such a top-notch, well-run film festival. It's fantastic. Yeah, so thank you, the volunteers, and the donors and everybody else. Thanks very much.
The CW crew on the CW Twin Cities: DJ Bonix, Alexa Score, and John Foss. Like, follow, subscribe to, and love the CW crew.